Good morning. Welcome to worship with the Universalist Unitarian Church of Peoria. My name is Regina Stanley, and I have the pleasure of serving as the membership coordinator for this congregation. This is a beloved community striving to live its mission of embracing freedom, loving wholeheartedly, growing in mind, body, and spirit, and adding to the healing of the world. We welcome people of all ethnicities and races, sexual orientation and gender identities, social and economic situations, abilities, and politics. We advocate for human rights, and we strive to be good stewards of the earth. In living our mission, we recognize the network of relationships of which we are a part. This is the ancestral home of the Peoria people. They were here long before the first European settlers came down the Illinois River. We honor the Peoria people for who they were and for who they are today. Thank you for joining us in person and online. One of the lessons from the past few years is how precious it is to come together, to be with other people, to expand our circles of care and kindness. If you are new, please help us get to know you. We have plenty of name tags and we welcome all the questions. I remembered my name tag today. Stay for coffee and conversation in Fellowship Hall or in the Zoom room after the service. Please be sure to turn your devices to worship mode, either silent or vibrate. See the graphic on the slide for help or ask someone sitting next to you. Some notes for today. I would like to thank the Fairbanks family for the beautiful flowers that are in the sanctuary. They are a gift from their daughter Kelsey's memorial yesterday. Let's see. Also, we have this week coming up on Friday, we have Drawing Love, Chalk the Parking Lot. So you can come and we are going to chalk the parking lot. You can draw and design. We'll do that Friday night and Saturday morning. And then there will be awards and a potluck. And that is at noon on Saturday. We also have the UUCP rummage sale is coming up soon. We are going to start setting up for that on Tuesday. We are looking for volunteers. You can contact Lindy Peterson to help with that. August 1st and 2nd, still taking donations until Tuesday. With political division becoming more pronounced, it can often be difficult to cut through the noise and really listen to the people talking to us about deeply felt issues and concerns. Building common ground and empathy for personal experiences is one way to open up dialogue with friends, family, and community to change people's opinions on sometimes difficult topics. If you want to practice these skills for yourself, join us on Sundays, August 10th, 17th, and 24th at 12 noon in the conference room for an educational series to learn more about ourselves and our personal history. As we do so, we will learn about personal storytelling to bridge divided communities by creating a platform for empathy. Come to one, some, or all sessions. Also for today, we have Nicholis Hall will be speaking, and for his talk, it may be a little triggering for some. So if you want to, we have fidgets at the back of the sanctuary. We have tissues around, however you need to care for yourself. And now let's please rise in body and spirit for our opening hymn, number 1009, Meditation on Breathing. And now I'd like to invite Jenna Richardson up for our opening words.
Stories in the Making by Emily Richards. Some stories begin once upon a time or long, long ago, but other stories begin here and now. These stories don't always have a clear direction. Sometimes they don't even have a clear beginning. What they do have is possibility. Those are stories still in the making, stories that have yet to be fully written, stories with the potential to create change for good or ill. We won't know how the story ends until we get there. but we can decide what words we use to write those stories. Words like hope, kindness, gratitude, peace, courage, perseverance, joy, and love. Above all else, love.
And now I'd like to invite Denise Holstein up for our chalice lighting.
Morning. For this 1 hour, Spirit of Life, we let go. For this 1 hour, may we let go of our anxieties, our fears, our anger, our self-doubts, our regrets, our petty grievances, and our distractions. If only for this 1 hour, let the flame of this chalice burn them from our hearts and minds and light our way to peace and serenity for this one holy hour.
From Victoria Weinstein. The purpose of the church is to encourage all who gather there to grow more generous in spirit and in action. This is the great end of all the world's faith traditions, to bring the human being closer to the divine by acts of creation and compassion. We now take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will support this self-supporting church and its many ministries. The gifts of the congregation will be most gratefully received. We also send part of what we receive out into the world when we share the plate. July's Share the Plate recipient is East Bluff Community Center Food Pantry. EBC Food Pantry operates 4 Saturdays a month. Guests select food items and then receive a prepared bag along with a choice of meat and dessert. Residents of this low-income area and unhoused individuals may access the pantry twice a month. This 501c3 charity is staffed by volunteers, receives no government funding, and depends on donations of product and funds. For more information, you can see their website at eastbluffcommunitycenter.org or find them on Facebook. 1/2 of July's undesignated plate offerings will go to them. Please use the envelopes provided in the pews to make your offering and indicate its use. See the QR code in the order of service to make an online donation. Thank you. During our music for meditation, after the plates have gone by, all are invited to add your own small flame to the others up front. It may be one of love, of hope, of sorrow, of remembrance, of whatever is in your heart. If you are at home, feel free to light your own flame or simply let these candles be for you. These collective flames acknowledge each week that though situations in our lives vary, our shared light provides a beacon to illuminate our path. Will the ushers please come forward? From Rebecca Savage. Spirit of life, both within and around us, be present to our collective yearning for renewal in this moment. Life has become super lifey these days, with the demands and pressures of jobs and roles, the tugs of the heart of people and places we miss and long for, the ways that when so much is asked of us, we crumble just a little bit more each day under the weight of it all. With soul-crushing, devastating news and updates from around the world and in our own communities, the loved ones in our lives hurting and struggling, the ways that we are hurting and struggling. Spirit of life, we pause to acknowledge the many challenges of life and send love and care within and out in the world. We pause to honor and hold space for the struggles we experience in our bodies and in our spirits, and send love and care to those tender places. We pause to receive the abundant mystery and grace, the power of love that is greater than ourselves to heal and nourish us. We call upon all the transcendent gifts of renewal to be bestowed upon us, for an energizing renewal to fill us in all the ways that serve our lagging spirits when our own resilience wanes. We give thanks and gratitude for the sweetness of renewal so that it may linger in us, be amplified and multiplied towards healing and wholeness. In the name of all that is hopeful and holy, may it be so. This is the time for sharing the joys and sorrows of the congregation. We had a great day yesterday at River City Pride Fest 2025. Many of you helped out with our booth, and I thank you for that. And we also saw so many of you there. It was a wonderful day of love and inclusion. We also had 2 memorials this weekend, Helen Gastorf on Friday and Kelsey Howard on Saturday. From Steve and Linda Fairbanks. Steve and Linda Fairbanks are on the journey of grieving for their daughter, Kelsey. They have a joy in the love and care expressed by this church family. Special thanks to Karen Zichterman and the phenomenal caring committee who looked after guests yesterday. Steve and Linda send love to you all. Let us keep all of the names, milestones, joys, and sorrows in our ever-expanding circle of care. Let us share one more moment of quiet. Please pause and breathe with me. Amen. Namaste. Blessed be. And now, at this time, I invite the children to join their adult volunteers for multi-age religious education. Please help me to sing them out. And now I'd like to introduce Nicholis Hall and his talk on To Be Free from Fear.
Okay. Okay, so before I get started onto my actual story that I'm going to share today, I want to talk about why I'm up here. I was mentioned earlier that starting on August 10th, we'll be hosting a workshop on storytelling for social change. And this story that I am sharing is something that I workshopped many years ago with an organization called Listen for a Change. I've since learned a lot more from other people who are excellent public speakers about how to share stories. And I'd be really interested in having you all join me there and learn about your stories and the experiences that you've had that have shaped your views on very complicated and complex issues that we are faced in our society. So as I get started today, I also want to remind people again that this may have some triggering topics for some people. It talks about a little bit about gun violence and school shootings. So if that is a difficult topic for you, please remember there are fidget devices available. There are tissues available in the rows, and if you do need to step out at any point, I would not be offended by that. But without further ado, I'm going to get started. So for those of you that don't know me, hi, my name's Nick, and I think an important thing to share about myself with this story is that I'm a 90s kid. I was born in 1996. This past year, I just turned 29 in May. And being a 90s kid, I grew up on some very unique experiences of the 90s. Particularly, I was a really big fan of Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z. But when I was a kid, we would go to the dollar store a lot. And one of the first toys that I ended up buying at the dollar store was this orange revolver that they actually discontinued, probably because of a lawsuit. This orange revolver that they sold at the dollar store, you could put these little fireworks sparks in it. And when you pull the trigger, it would make a loud popping noise and it would send sparks flying out of the front of the gun. And when I first had held a gun that was a real gun, I had already played with this orange revolver. I'd already played around with things like Nerf guns and other kinds of like squirt guns and toy guns and things like that. But my dad took me out to the range for the first time, and he started talking to me about all of the ways that we needed to be practicing safety with firearms. He talked about not pointing it at anybody, only putting my finger on the trigger when I was ready to shoot, that I needed to make sure that the safety was on anytime I put it down. All these things that I had not been practicing when I was playing around with all of these toy guns. And he put this gun in my hand, and I was still very young, and it was this silver handgun, and I couldn't quite fit my fingers around the trigger. And he kept explaining to me how to pull the trigger on this gun, and I thought it was really funny because he kept explaining this to me, and I couldn't even actually pull the trigger myself because I was so young and my hands were so small. And when I first pulled the trigger, it shot so far of the target that I got really frustrated, and I actually walked away and went back inside and stopped for the day. But eventually, my grandfather and my dad, we went out to the range a normal amount of times every year, and they kept teaching me how to shoot guns. And it was kind of like a similar experience, similar to like going fishing with them or going out on a bike ride with them. It was a bonding time between me and my dad, or me and my grandfather. One particular time, my grandfather had taken me out, and we had been shooting a rifle that he had just bought. And he had bought a scope for this, and he was showing me all the ways to get the gun zeroed in on the target. He put a metal plate out in the field, and it was the first time he had shot it since we had zeroed in the sights. And he walked me through how to shoot from prone. And when I first pulled the trigger, I hit the plate right in the middle, and something unexpected happened. We put a hole in the plate. And he was so excited by this. He was very proud of this, and he kept that plate for years and would brag to me about how proud of me he was when I did that. And the thing is that growing up, I received a lot of these messages about guns that were soon to be challenged, because growing up in the 90s meant that I also was born 2 years before the Columbine massacre. And if you're not familiar with what that is, the Columbine massacre is where 2 high school students went into their high school and they shot and killed multiple classmates and wounded several others. There's a whole documentary out there on this if you'd like to know more. I didn't know about the Columbine massacre for a long time. It was never something that came into my awareness until I was in high school myself. And by the time I got to high school, things had started to change about the ways that we interacted with guns in high school and in schools in general. By the time I got to high school, they had started to shut down the ability of students to walk between classes by going outdoors because of the threat of somebody entering the building through one of the open and unlocked doors. You could only get into the building through the top of the hill at the school. And they continued to implement more security measures and hire more school resource officers to hopefully prevent a shooting from taking place. They also started to have us practice active shooter drills. And the first time that we practiced an active shooter drill, they announced over the intercom, "Teachers protect your dragons." It was their code word. And when they announced "Teachers protect your dragons" over the intercom, they said to us, okay, we need to turn the lights off. We're going to lock the doors, and we're going to huddle in the corner. And it was like we were waiting for a nuclear bomb to drop. I never really took these very seriously. It's just, anytime a shooting had taken place, it was something that just happened on the news. I never really expected to experience an actual lockdown. But when they announced over the intercom, "Teachers protect your dragons," myself and my classmates, we got up and did as we'd been told. My teacher, she turned the lights off and she locked the doors. And we huddled in the corner. But my classmates and I were not quiet like we had been told. One of us was sharing a meme off of iFunny to their friend and laughing quietly in the corner. And another was gossiping with her friend about the latest rumors that she had heard about her friend's boyfriend. When this happened, my teacher stood up over us and she kind of huddled down a little bit and like tried to get our attention. And she whispered in this quiet, terrified voice, "You need to shut up." You can fill in the 4-letter word she used. "This is real. I don't know what's going on. I don't have any information about what's happening, but this isn't a drill. You need to be quiet." The silence that fell over the room in that moment still sits with me to this day. I often wonder what might have been going through my teacher's mind when that happened, when they announced over that intercom, "Teachers protect your dragons," and she had to lock the doors and we weren't being quiet. Did she think that she was going to have to die for us that day? Did she think that she was going to have to stand between a shooter and us? We had no information about what was happening. The next day, I remember one of my teachers talking about the fact that he had grabbed an American flag out of its stand in his classroom, and he had furled the flag into his hands, and he had used the spear tip point of the flag. It was this little, almost like an ace on a playing card. And he said to us, I prepared that so that if he came into the classroom, I could skewer him. And I often wonder if her thoughts were like mine the second time that I was under an active shooter threat at school. It was announced over in an early alert system that somebody had threatened to come to the school and commit an act of violence, and that they had planted a bomb on campus when I was in college. They said nothing to really worry about, law enforcement is on it. But when they sent this out, I deliberated with my mom and my then girlfriend about whether or not to go. And ultimately, we decided that we weren't going to be made to feel afraid to go to class and go to school. But I do sometimes wish I hadn't gone that day, because what happened next for me was nearly 2 years of anxiety and fear and a constant state of worry that, because of that state of worry, I can't really remember much of my junior year of college. When I went to class that day, I sat in the back of the room as I'd always done, and I realized that there was no exit. The only exit that there was in the room was at the front of the room, and there was no window to get out. All I could do was just sit there, and if somebody came in, I was going to be definitely getting shot. All I could think about was the fact that if this person came in, I couldn't do anything to fight back. I ended up moving to the front of the class with this delusion in my mind that, well, maybe if I'm at the front of the class, I can try to get out of this door. And if they come in this door, maybe I can be the hero and stop this person from hurting me and hurting my classmates. I worried the whole day, is my girlfriend okay? Is my friend going to be okay? What about all of the other classmates? I watched a disabled woman be questioned about a bag that she had kept out in the hallway with her oxygen tank. And this sense of paranoia existed all across campus that day. I wish that that fear, that anxiety that stuck with me that day had gone away. But for the rest of my next junior year, I sat in class and all I could think about was all of the ways that I might get hurt, that my classmates might be hurt, that the people that were teaching might be hurt. I started attending more active shooter drills and simulations in this hope that maybe I'll learn something that will keep me safe. But unfortunately, as it only made my worries worse, because I watched them talk about how even a trained SWAT police officer would often get shot first if he tried to respond and disarm the person or shoot the person or do anything to intervene. The only thing that they really said was effective was to either to run or to hide. And if you couldn't do that, then the last resort was to fight. This came to a head for me when I opened the news one day and I read the news about the Las Vegas shooting in Nevada, when over 400 people attending a concert were wounded and 65 people were shot and killed by a man who had perched himself on, I believe, the 30th floor of a hotel. He had opened fire, and it sounded like automatic fire because he had modified his gun to simulate automatic fire. And I watched the news as the only thing that was being offered were thoughts and prayers. And in that moment, for the first time in my life, and probably I think the only time in my life, I had a panic attack. I thought, nowhere is safe. Elementary schools are not safe. My high school is not safe. My college isn't safe. Nightclubs are not safe. Movie theaters are not safe. Where can I go? At the end of one of the articles where they were talking about this tragedy, they talked about the importance of picking up the phone and calling your representatives. And it was the first time that I actually called one of my reps. And I asked them that, what are we willing to do to solve this problem? Why can we not get anything done? And I continue to talk about this story because even to this day, very little is being done to pass new laws or change any policies around gun violence in this country. I tell this story too because, to me, something notable in this story is that there is an absence of tragedy in the story. I'm thankful that no one has died for me to come to the point where I felt the need to advocate, to change the laws around around guns in this country, to do something to address gun violence. And I'm hopeful that in talking with people about my experience, that they will open the conversation for what we are willing to do to address this problem together. Thank you for listening to my story today. And I encourage you that if you would like to share your own story, to come and attend the workshop that we'll be hosting on the 10th. Thank you.
And now I'd like to invite you to rise in body and spirit for our closing hymn, number 100, Peace Like a River.
Carry the Flame by Brian Cayley. The chalice is now extinguished, but its light lives on in the minds and hearts and souls of each one of you. Carry that flame with you as you leave this place and share it with those you know, with those you love, and most especially with those you have yet to meet.
From James Morrison. Within each of our hearts, there is a most glorious light. Go forth and let its spark help you understand what troubles both you and others. Go forth and let its light of reason be a guide in your decisions. Go forth and bring its ray of hope to those in need of help in both body and spirit, that they may find healing. Go forth and fan the flames of passion to help heal our world. Go forth and spread the warm glow of love, pushing back the darkness of the world. Go forth and share your glorious light with the world. Our worship has ended. Let our service begin.